Um, how well does Israel trust America to negotiate on Israel's behalf, or Israel's interest in safety from?
Well, I don't think we have an issue of trust here. What my prime minister said, that first of all, when it comes to Iran, if we want to achieve a peaceful resolution, and no country has a greater interest in achieving a peaceful solution than Israel, because we'll pay the price, the people of Israel. If you don't have a peaceful solution, if we're faced with a choice between Iran having a military nuclear capability, or if somebody has to take military action, regardless of who takes military action, the people of Israel will pay a very high price. So we want to see a peaceful resolution. What we believe is that the way to achieve a peaceful resolution is by actually increasing pressures on Iran as much as possible. And I think what's happened in the last few weeks, and what I've noticed as Israel's ambassador when I go out to different places, what I see is that everyone's become a nuclear weapons expert. And they can talk about 3.5% enriched uranium and 90% enriched uranium, and they can talk about centrifuges and heavy water facilities. And we lose sight of the most important thing. The most important thing is not the deal that's on the table, it's who's on the other side of the table. And in Iran, you have the single worst regime of the 21st century. I don't want to offend any of your North Korean viewers, but Iran is the worst regime. They're the foremost sponsor of terrorism in the world. In the last 3 years alone, they've perpetrated terror attacks on 5 continents in 25 different countries. They are responsible for much of the tragedy that you see in Syria. Well over 130,000 people have already been killed. That's because Iran.
130,000 people.
That's because
including civilians.
And mostly civilians. I think about maybe 20,000 soldiers have been killed, but they've mostly been civilians, and just horrific tragedy. And that's because of Iran, because without Iran's support, then the Assad regime would not have survived this long. They control Lebanon through their proxy Hezbollah. They control Gaza. They're responsible for the murder of hundreds of Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's very important when Iran puts these people out front, like the foreign minister of Iran or the president of Iran, who can speak nice English and can actually do a PowerPoint. It's very important to remember that these are lawyers for killers, that this is the worst regime on the planet, including what they do to their own people, with hundreds of people get executed every year in Iran. People don't know this, and it's important to tell that story. So in addition to threatening us, the state of Israel, threatening to annihilate the state of Israel, it's very important for people to remember how horrific this regime is. So when you're thinking about this deal and you're thinking about everything that's on the table, think first about who you're dealing with. And part of my job as ambassador is to remind people about the truth of this regime, and that's what I intend to do during my tenure here.